Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. If you celebrated Mother's Day yesterday, happy Mother's Day yesterday.
Happy Mother's Day, everyone.
We're Chris and Steve from EatWalkLearn, and we've got the topic that everybody who travels asks at least once, sometime in their travel, especially in their nomad life. Are you ready?
Yes.
What do you do with your cell phone plan when you travel?
Cell phone plan,
data plans is right. So this is our background and this is our story and this is what we do. You may take some takeaways from our conversation. We're not telling you what you should do, we're telling you what works for us. So a little background. We were on Google Fi forever. If you don't know Google Fi is the cell phone and data plan service that Google offers. It competes with AT&T and Verizon and all those guys. If you're in the United States, you can get Google Fi. You have to have a US phone number in order to get it. It is a great service. We used it for many, many years. I wrote the #1 article about Google Fi and how to use it and why to use it and why it was so great and so on. I was on the referral plan. I got too many referrals. They stopped paying me because I had so many referrals from Google Fi. And I thought I was golden with Google Fi.
Sounds like a perfect plan. What happened?
What happened? Well, Google Fi has this little fine print that says if you use Google Fi consistently outside the United States for more than 6 months, they will turn off your data plan.
They fired us.
I thought, they can't fire me. I'm queen of data. I'm queen of Google Fi. They can't fire me. They fired me. So we got an email while we were in Mexico that said, in 30 days, we are cutting off your data plan. You can keep your phone number, but we're cutting off your data plan unless you get back to the U.S. Well, we weren't going to get back to the U.S. We actually had a 1-day layover in the U.S.
Didn't matter. You have to be back permanently in the U.S., not just show up and then it's recessed the 6 months or whatever. No, you'd have to go back and not travel internationally again for another 6 months or whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. They said, we're cutting you off.
Yeah.
And we had to find another plan.
Our 24-hour layover in Florida didn't reset us. It just delayed us by a day. Yeah. So you can't play that game. So anyway, so we're sitting in Mexico and we're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? So tons of research. First of all, shout out to the Geek Streamers. If you don't know them, follow them. They're fantastic. They are a nomad couple traveling around the world. They turned us on to our solution here. We're going to give you a lot of details. I also have a blog post at EatWalkLearn called Google Fired Me. Google Fi fired me. Link below. You can read everything we're about to tell you here. So anyways, Steve has a Samsung 20...
S20 something. It's got
the latest Samsung
physical SIM card,
and I have a Pixel 4a with 5G. So we had some criteria when we were looking. So first of all, the thing we had to understand first was that our Google Fi plan had 2 parts. One was the phone number part and being able to call people on the phone service, and the second was the data plan part. I don't think I really understood that there were 2 parts. So anyway, so we had to figure out how to keep our US-based phone number because we wanted that for that 2-factor authentication that comes from your banks and so on as you travel. That was really important that we wanted to keep our US phone number, and we wanted to have a data plan that worked like Google Fi. And what Google Fi does is no matter where you land, no matter where you show up, anywhere in the world, when you land on the tarmac, you turn on the phone and it works. You don't have to replace anything. You don't have to change your settings. You don't have to, it's magic.
Yeah, it's a simple thing like, landing at the airport and you need to call an Uber, right? Well, if you don't have a data plan, you're not going to get an Uber. So, and you need your Uber to be able to get a SIM card or something. Anyways, we'll talk about that in a second.
Right. So
I want to talk about the phone number piece because that's really easy. We ported our phone numbers over to Google Voice, which is a voice service from Google.
Voice over IP. Mm-hmm.
Voice over IP.
Yeah.
And it works great. And for anybody who's worried about the 2-factor authentication or getting phone calls, whatever, no problem. The only little thing is you need to give them a little bit of money for a data plan because if you want to...
No, not for data plan.
I'm sorry, not data.
For a cell plan. Yeah,
if you want to make a phone call and you want to call internationally, so again, I've got a US phone number. We're in Spain right now. I want to call somebody in Spain. That's an international phone call. It costs about a penny a minute, sometimes 2 cents a minute, and it tells you in advance while you're making the call how much it's going to cost you. But it's super, super cheap. I don't know any other calling plan where and that there's no other fees, right? So it's free except for those international calls. So if I was just calling people in the United States with my US phone number, doesn't matter where I am in the world, I'm still making a domestic phone call, right? And there's no charge, but it's only those times when I'm making a quote international call that there's charge.
So the first thing we did is we ported our phone number from Google Fi to Google Voice. So you download the Google Voice app, you put it on your phone, you go onto the Google Voice's website, and you set up your account. You use your Google Gmail login information to set up your account. So get Google Fi Voice set up. It took about 2 or 3 days for the numbers to officially port over. So it's not instantaneous. You can also do it if you're using any other carrier. You can port over to Google Voice. There is a charge if you go from another carrier to Google Voice. I think it's like $20. From Google Fi to Google Voice, it was free. Okay, so once we got our phone number settled, then we had to figure out the data plan. So back to the requirements, it had to be easy to use, it had to be seamless, and it had to be affordable. So Steve's like, oh, we'll just go get SIM cards everywhere we go.
What I like about a SIM card is that, like you walk into the convenience store, like in Mexico, and they're everywhere, and you say, oh, I'll take that SIM card, and you get your data, you pop it in your phone, and it works. Well, that is if you know how to ask for it, because your Spanish might be a little bit limited.
And you can read the instructions in the language that the SIM comes in. Yep.
So I'll let Chris talk about, what her solution, and then I'll give you the little caveat of what I had to do to make it work for me.
Right. So we had 2 different phones, the Samsung and the Pixel, and I wanted to find an eSIM. So an eSIM is just an electronic SIM card, I guess it is. And it's not a physical card. It's a piece of software that gets downloaded onto your phone. And then most phones now, you'll have dual SIM. So you have the SIM that came with your phone, and then you can get an eSIM or you can get a SIM card, which Steve will talk about. So for me, my phone, my Pixel 4a with 5G, is eSIM enabled. So I thought if I get an eSIM, then I don't have to change my SIM card every single time I cross a country border. And because we travel all the time, we're constantly going across borders, and we're not quite sure how long we're going to be in different borders. That made a lot of sense to me. So I got the eSIM, and then I had to buy a data plan to go with it. So we found Flexi Roam. So we're going to put links down here for our referral code for Flexi Roam. You use it, I get 100 gig or 100 meg, and you get 100 meg free if we both agree to everything. So please use it. If you don't, that's fine. I mean, 100 meg is not a big deal, but anyway, it'd be nice if you use a referral. So then Flexi Roam has a billion different plans. And basically the plans are something like you get a certain amount of gig for a certain amount of time and a certain location. So we're going to be in Spain for 7 days. We want 10 gig. That's only used in Spain. I was not interested in trying to figure out how many days I'm going to be in what country, when I'm going to cross borders. If I'm going to be for 10 and I only use it for 7, am I leaving data on the table? Am I paying for things I'm not using? So I thought, I wonder if they have a global plan, and they do. Now, global plans cover not all the countries, but Flexi Roam covers like 162 out of 175 countries or something. So there's particular places that you might have to come up with a different solution. And they regularly, like every other day, have an 80% off sale. So, and you get notifications of it. So with that 80% off, and what I also liked about Flexi Roam's global data plan was it's good for 320 days, I think it is.
Something like that.
So you can buy a bunch of gig for a certain amount of time, and you don't have to worry about it expiring or having to change your country every time you moved and so on. So I bought, I think it was a 13 gig plan for $65 that lasts 300 days. So then, do you want to talk about?
Yeah, okay. Well, I just want to say, how that's super affordable, because when we had Google Fi, I thought we were getting the deal of the century, and it was $10 a gig.
Right. It was $15 for our phone line, and then $10 a gig for each. Yeah.
And again, this is our experience. We don't have iPhones. We don't have things like Verizon or AT&T. I know a lot of people out there that have the big U.S. Carriers that you're using for your data and your calling. But I've heard stories about paying hundreds of dollars a month for your plan, and especially
$10 a day on Verizon or whatever.
Yeah. So to pay, $65 about $30 a month, I think, each for our for our data, and then to be able to go on Flexi Roam and pay, what was your?
$65 for 13 gig for 300 and something days.
Yeah, so that's like even about like half of what we were paying. So affordable, check. Yes, very affordable. Does it work everywhere? Yes. We've been in Italy, we've been in Mexico, we've been in Spain. Monaco.
Spain, yeah,
you don't have to worry about where you are, what you're
islands,
doing.
yeah.
You got your data,
US,
you hit, whatever you're
Mexico.
doing on your phone, it works.
Yeah. Yeah. So it may not be the cheapest. I mean, I am sure you can probably get a I don't know. I haven't found it, but so the competitors to Flexi Roam, there are lots of them. There's Airalo. There's other ones. They're probably fine. What I found that I liked with Flexi Roam is the length of time on the data was really, really useful. I found the other places the data expired like in 30 days or 45 days, and then you had to do all these mental calculations of how long you're going to be in the country and how blah, 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 blah. So I've got the global plan. He's got the global plan. So my eSIM downloaded. There was a couple technical issues that I had. I got on WhatsApp tech support with Flexi Roam. They worked it all out, got it suited up. Steve, on the other hand, he tried to download the eSIM and
Yeah, so what I found out is that my phone doesn't have an eSIM. It's got the physical SIM card. You pop the little drawer open, the little card, it comes out. And since Google Fi was firing us, and we were in Mexico, I really for about 2 weeks I really didn't have a choice. If I wanted to use my phone, I had to go into the local convenience store and buy a physical SIM card and use the local phone company in Mexico.
And how'd that go?
Because Chris was with me, it was very easy to walk into the phone store and say, this is what we need, because she speaks fluent Spanish. And really within minutes, we had the new SIM card in, we tested it, it worked great. I paid, I don't know, it was like
pennies.
Super cheap to get the SIM card and a starter data plan that, for a couple weeks.
$10 for 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah. And it actually worked great because you're using the local phone company. And this is my big question mark is...
Wait, finish that thought.
Okay.
You're using the local phone company, and therefore your roaming on the data in Mexico was really good, like 4G, 5G, because you were on the Telcel data network. Okay?
Exactly.
So what we have found with Flexi Roam is, at least here in Europe, is that because we're assuming we're like a tertiary customer on the networks, the European networks, we're not getting really great roaming speeds. We're at H+, we're at 3G. Occasionally we pop into 4G and 5G. It's really not that big of a deal because really all we're probably doing is just looking at GPS or on a map or something.
I mean, if you're in a town that you've never been in before and you want to search for, restaurants near me, or, you're at a church and you want to get a little more background on where is this basilica that I'm, that I'm standing in front of, those are the kinds of things that, and it's worked every time. So yeah, it may be faster if we had the local SIM card, but it really hasn't deterred us from doing anything. It hasn't affected our searching.
Right. So we're on a road trip right now, if you've been following along, and we picked up a car in Rome. We were in Italy, then we were in France, and then we were in Spain, and we're still in Spain. And we kind of knew what our schedule was. And we thought we were going to be like 7 days here and 10 days here, and that kind of modified. And so having the global plan, that's covered us along the way. Now, what's also nice about Flexi Roam is that you can buy cheaper regional and state-specific plans. So like I can buy a 30-day plan, 5 gig in Spain for 30 days, or in Italy, whatever. So I went ahead and purchased an Italian plan because we were in Italy for 25 days, and a Spanish plan because we're in Spain for 25 days or something. So it makes it, and I know what our solid dates are. So I went ahead and purchased those plans. And in Flexi Roam, those plans lay on top of the global plan. So as long as they're active, and you just click the button that says active, the Flexi Roam is smart enough to pick up the plan that it should be using in the location that you are. So when I was in Italy and I got the Italian plan, it switched off the global plan onto the Italian plan. The Italian plan was even cheaper. I don't remember what the price was. But then I was on the Italian plan. When we moved into France, we were only in France for a couple days, and I wasn't quite sure of the dates. It just clicked back over to the global plan. And then when we got into Spain, I bought a Spanish plan. Same thing. It clicked right over to the Spanish plan, and my global plan's kind of on pause until I get to someplace else. So like this week, I've got to go up to Ireland for a couple days. I'm not going to bother buying an Irish plan. That global plan will kick right in when I go to Ireland, be fine, and then when I come back to Spain, it will pick right back up on the Spanish plan.
Yeah. I just got the global plan, and we've been hopping around different countries, and I just stuck with the global plan. Although I think in 2 weeks when we go to Portugal, and we know we're in Portugal for a month, I might see what, because that my global plan is about, running down. That might be what I do next. But again, it's flexible, it's easy, and it's all affordable.
And it's very easy to buy those other plans. You just go into the Flexi Roam app, you say, oh, it's Spain, and they're always on sale. There's all these different, anyway, it's very easy to find the plans. You just pay them and you activate them. And once you buy a plan, I think you have 3 months to activate it. So if you see something on sale, you can buy it and put it in your wallet or whatever, and it will stay there until you activate it. So it's been fantastic. Probably the only glitch that we didn't really understand when we did all this was the Google Voice part. When we were trying to make phone calls, the phone calls weren't going through. We couldn't figure it out. And then we realized we just had to put money in our account for Google Voice in order to make these international calls. That started working fine. And Flexi Roam's tech support's great. I only had to use it once when we did the eSIM installation, and it's on WhatsApp, which is fantastic. And it's just been really kind of brilliant and easy, and actually, I might even say better than Google Fi.
Well, if they don't fire us, it'll be a lot better.
So anyway, we're not tech nerds. Please don't post comments below of I installed it, I don't know how it works. What's my settings? Just go use their tech support, please. Don't ask us for that. But if you have questions like I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm thinking about doing this, what should I do? Absolutely, ask those questions below. What do you do for your data plan and your phone number? We would love to know if you have another solution than what we do. Please do not write below that you just get a SIM card every single time you go someplace. We know that solution. That's not a solution that we're interested in. You can do that. You're certainly welcome to do that. We don't want to do that because we simply want to be able to immediately have access to our phones when we cross the border. Anything else?
You look like you got some sun. Oh,
I got a new hairdo, and you got your little Spanish going on.
Olé.
And this Camino view is definitely coming in.
I'm getting ready for the Camino.
Okay. Anyway, you guys, we thank you. Subscribe, like, ask us questions, ask us about data. Don't forget to read my article and the link below on EatWalkLearn.com. Google fired us. What do we do next? Talk to you later. Have a great week.
Ciao.